Okay. Why I have why you can't play the pup? Are you getting an error message? Because I can play the pup just fine. All right. So I think we'll just hop right into it, and then we'll go from there. I'm not sure how long this will take, but it probably won't take too long. So Empire Wars, we talked about that yesterday. I'm assuming there's going to be a tournament with it. Not sure. Don't have too much to say about that. Actually, wait, I do. I did test this. I did launch this. For those who don't know, you do start with like 27 workers. You start with some houses. Villagers are already on wood, gold, and food. And yeah, and you do start in Age 1, so it doesn't work like Age of Empires 2 exactly. You don't start in Age 2, you do start in Age 1. And obviously each civ has different things. I believe, like for example, as Ottomans, you actually start with a military school already built. As Delhi, I believe you start with like 4 scholars or something. But yeah, not too much to talk about that. We kind of talked about these maps. They just don't look very fun, but I am going to look at them later on as well. But the most important part to first go through, the 1v1 ranked map pool. We all know, I'm sure there's been plenty of complaints on other streamers, but yes, not an exciting map pool. I mean, it's better than the start of this season, but it's still pretty bad. Like, these 4 maps, Dry Arabia, Prairie, Lipany, The Pit. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Prairie, but these 4 maps are probably going to be the best. Marshland, I'm going to check, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be bad. Danube River is just atrocious. Mongolian Heights is bad. Forest Ponds is bad. And Continental is bad. It's just too many water maps. Why would they not put Warring Islands? Sniper, you're such a troll. You don't even play Age of Empires anymore. You're a Company of 3-player. Company of Heroes 3-player. And then the team ranked map pool is obvious. It's actually worse this time. Because funnily enough, I think the current season team ranked map pool is better than 1v1 ranked map pool. Either way, not too much to talk about there. Disappointment, but it's kind of, at this point, I'm guessing we're never getting custom maps. I don't know why the developers can't reach out to map makers and say, hey, can we use your map? Have them sign a contract or something. If they're concerned about legal issues, I don't understand. So, but at this point, I don't think we're getting custom maps ever for Age of Empires 4, which is unfortunate. Hey, we have Golden Heights. Yeah. Woo! They do have team voice chat. Don't really want to talk about that. Don't care about that. We're just trying to go through... by the way, the graphics have changed slightly. They do look a little bit better, which you'll probably see in the stream. And I did see on Beastie's stream earlier that like Streltsy, when they fire, looks a lot cooler than it was before. But those are just graphical changes. I'm not planning on going over the bug fixes or AI updates. I just don't care about that. I just want to get to the meat and the potatoes. The water. Wait, did they increase how the water looked as well? I haven't looked at that. I guess I'll find out. So if you care about this part, you guys can just look it up yourself. I don't feel like reading it all. All right. So let's talk about the trade change, the trade update. I did test this a bit, by the way, so I can tell you guys how it works. Because this doesn't really give much details. It just says trade has always been a great source in the late game. However, there are a number of civilization bonuses that make trade more effective earlier on. We've updated to streamline the experience and improve overall balance. Gold is now given every time the trader touches a market instead of at the end of the trip. So you'll effectively be getting gold more often, but less gold each time the trader arrives. This also means there's less need for micromanagement when your trade line is attacked and all that stuff. Yeah, I have the link for you, FlameSimp. You do have to log into Steam as an FYI. But the way trade works, for those who are curious, is you get trade when you touch the market. So if you have your trade market over here and the neutral market's over here, you'll get half the income when you touch it. When I tested it, I got 61 gold there, and then I got 61 gold when it came back. So it's like a buff and a nerf, because I haven't tested this part yet, but I don't think the trade trick works like it has been. But I could be wrong. I don't think if you trade trick, you'll get the 61 gold immediately. and then you can get the 61 on the way back. But maybe I'm wrong. I haven't tested that. I might test that maybe before I start doing games. But overall, I think this was... Is this a buff or a nerf? I don't really feel like it's a nerf, but if it does remove the trade trick where you can get, instant trade almost, then I guess it's technically a nerf. But overall, trade really hasn't changed much in my opinion. I think it's probably stronger in some ways. It does remove the trick? Okay, that's good to know. So then it was a nerf with at least that part, but it also is kind of a buff because you're at least guaranteed to get gold as long as the trader makes it to the neutral market. So it's like both. Not too much else to talk about there. Okay, and now we get to the fun stuff. The stuff that we really care. I mean, trade I cared about. I kind of wish they'd... I mean, I do kind of wish that they'd go a different direction with trade, but I've accepted a while ago that they want trade to be viable in the feudal age for whatever reason, so no point in really talking about it too much. Unique options for every civilization. Unique units and technologies are major factors. We have reviewed the overall enjoyment and effectiveness of every civilization-specific unit and technology for this update, which resulted in a variety of changes, which there are a lot. There's a lot of unit changes and balance changes that'll be very interesting. So we'll just go over this, and I'll give you guys my professional opinion. And in reality, it's not really a professional opinion, but I can pretend it is. You don't get double trip in one go now. You get the one trip and half the... Yeah, so that's what I thought. You don't get the whole... So you get half of it, right? So if you do the trade trick, it's the same thing as if you don't. You're getting the 61 gold. So the trade trick doesn't really matter anymore, because either way, it's the same trip distance, right? If you go from, all the way to the left to the neutral trade market, you're getting the same gold as if you went from the neutral trade straight to the normal trade. So in reality, the trade trick doesn't really exist anymore. Okay, so there's a new spyglasses technology available from the stables in the Imperial Age. It increases the line of sight of scouts. Scouts no longer gain extra line of sight as the player ages up. Now, I did know that scouts gained extra line of sight when they aged up, but does that work in Castle? Like, does this actually do that in Castle Age and Imperial Age before? I've actually never noticed that part. I noticed it from Dark Age to Feudal Age, but I never noticed it from like Feudal to Castle. So this is actually, I actually did not know that was a thing, if that's the case. And then Spyglass has unique mappable hotkeys. Yeah, that doesn't matter. So that's a little, I mean, I guess it's technically a nerf to Scouts' light of sight, but I think it's fine. Dark Age Scouts can still see quite a bit. It's not like they don't. Palisade gate health decreased from 1500 to 1250. To the surprise of no one who watches my stream, the more we nerf walls, the better. Units standing on walls that idle aggro will no longer leave the safe walls to chase enemy units. Just kind of a quality of life change. I don't really put units on walls, so it doesn't really affect me. You get faster return on things like the Trade Wing spawn traders with this new system. Kind of crazy. I mean, you did before too, though. Kind of. I don't know. I think it equals out to the same thing. I mean, no. Like I said, the trade change is like a buff and a nerf. It nerfs the trade trick, but it is a buff overall, it feels like. Effectively, I'm not a big fan of it, to be honest. I would rather them just... But whatever. Like I said, they've already made their opinion. They've already decided they want it to be viable in the feudal age. So that's how it's going to be. Yeah, I know what you meant, Zero Wolf. I did get that after a moment, which sometimes can take me a little bit. All defensive buildings' attack radiuses are now made visible to any player when selected. I'll just say it. I actually am not a fan of this change. For those who don't know what this is talking about, I can click on my opponent's town center and I'll know the exact range of where it's at. Same with my opponent's outpost. I can see exactly where the range is and where to stop my units. I'm not a big fan of that, but I also don't think it's that big of a deal anyway. In general, it is going to be more helpful, I guess, for probably lower level players. But like I said, it's not a big deal. It's just I'm not a fan of it though in general. You thought it showed it anyway? No. If you click on your opponent's TC, you don't see what their range is at all. You just click on the TC. Now you'll see the range, the little circle that you do when you do on your main TC. Monks can now heal any injured friendly units nearby while patrolling. And then heal and inspire abilities can be queued from the command card. Okay, nothing exciting. Gotta be honest, I'm skipping the naval updates. I just don't care about them. It's just a little bit of extra damage and some cost changes for Delhi and whatnot. I don't care about it. All right, Abbasid Dynasty. So here we're going to go over the first big change. Abbasid now has a man-at-arm unit renamed to the Golem. It has a double strike ability, or I don't know if it's an ability, but it boasts a powerful double strike that will chew through unarmored units, but is less effective versus enemy knights and man-at-arms. It deals 2 attacks in quick succession. The attack is decreased from 12 to 10, and then 14 to 12. Decreased. I don't know if I said increased. The attack speed changed from 1.38 to 1.13, and then it's 1.63 for the full double strike. And then the cost was increased from 100 food, 20 gold to 120 food, 30 gold. And they move faster? Yeah, move speed increased from 1.12 to 1.19. But their health, now this is kind of the big one if you think about it. Their health has increased from 155 to 195. 180 to 225. That's a huge health increase. I mean, just think about this. If you can get the Castle Age as Abbasid and your opponents in Feudal, these men-at-arms are going to be... I mean, Castle Age men-at-arms are already tanky against most civs that are stuck in Feudal Age. But now they're even more tanky because they take a lot more to kill. Like against English and stuff. I also heard that this unit's pretty bonkers with Camel Riders in the late game. But yeah. Oh, that's true. Boot Camp also buffs this. I didn't even think of that. So then you get Boot Camp on top of it. So really, this unit's going to have over 200 health by the time you get Castle Age. It's going to be a tough... Like I don't know if this is going to be as weak against... Because it says that it's weak versus... Or less effective versus enemy knights and man-at-arms. But I don't know if that's going to be the case. House of Wisdom. No balance changes. Just kind of text and stuff. Yeah, it's just text updates. Camel Riders costs are changed from 180 food, 60 gold to 160 food, 30 gold, 30 wood. They wanted to increase the general cost effectiveness of this unit as well as bring down the food cost so it's easier to mix into production cycles. I feel like when it came to making Camel Riders in general, I feel like gold was never the problem. So like the food, it being a little cheaper in food is nice, but 160 is still quite a bit, at least in early Castle Age. So I'm not sure if we're actually going to see this unit more, but we'll see. I don't think the wood or gold cost, that's very, very cheap. As Abbasid, I feel like you have plenty of wood in the Castle Age, and then gold is, 30 gold's like nothing. That's like a men-at-arm. So I'm not sure if this will really help it or not, but we'll see. They removed the long firing delay on Camel Archers. So the damage per second remains the same, but it's now easier to micro and kite with the unit. So I'll be curious how that actually plays out. And then Camel Rider Shields and Camel Rider Barding technologies are now tier upgrades and share the same UI slot at the stables. Camel Rider Shields reduced from 100 food, 250 gold to 75 food, 200 gold, and then 45 seconds to research. It's 30 less resources or 20 less resources overall, so not too bad. Yeah, like I said, I don't think... 160 food, though, is still pretty expensive, at least in early Castle Age. Teak Mass Technology. Cost reduced from 100 wood and 150 gold to 75 wood, 125 gold. Removed from Castle to Feudal Age. Research time reduced... Oh, is this just a ship one? Instead of 10% movement speed, now it's 10% HP to military ships. Okay, I don't care about that. And then MMs aren't really changed. Just scaled down the conversion sound, and then it made it so that... I didn't know this was a thing, but I guess if you use MMs... to try and convert an enemy unit, it'll sometimes try to convert a unit that's already been converted. So I've never seen this upgrade in action, so I didn't know that was a thing. So overall, I would say Abbasid got some buffs. But the reality is it's just their Castle Age, right? And I feel like Abbasid's weak point is their Feudal Age. Like, Abbasid doesn't need a buff in the Castle Age. Abbasid's Castle Age is strong. It's their Feudal Age that they struggle with, in my opinion. Because as Abbasid, if you make it to Castle Age and you don't take economic damage, you're feeling good. But it's very hard because a lot of civs can be very aggressive, and it's very hard to Abbasid to hold a lot of that aggression. So while there's some buffs to Abbasid here, they're buffing parts of their game that are already strong. Would switching boot camp and composition bows make them OP? Oh, you mean like putting composition bows in Feudal Age? I don't know if it would be overpowered or not, but it would definitely be a strong Feudal Age buff. I couldn't tell you if it would be OP or not without testing it, but I wouldn't be surprised. I do not agree. Going fast M3TC works super fine with ABBA. I mean, in team games, maybe. It's not going to work very well in 1v1s. Chinese. Reusable barrels reworked into additional barrels no longer reduces the cost of Nesta Bees, but now Nesta Bees receive +2 additional rockets per volley. I mean, I know everyone on Reddit was complaining about this, and I'm just kidding. But Nesta Bees is the one unit that does not need a buff. It is super strong. I don't know why they're buffing Nesta Bees, but okay, that's what they're doing. The Imperial Palace and Spiritway landmarks are now tax drop-off locations. Okay. Zuganu cost adjusted from 20 food, 30 gold, 30 wood to 30 food, 20 gold, 30 wood. We want to have a higher food tax on players making Zuganu, so they either have to risk going out on the map or invest wood for a farm transition. I'm going to be honest, I feel like Zugs are still going to be insanely strong. Like, I don't know if this is really going to weaken the strategy or not. I don't know the best way to balance this out here. I'd have to like really think about it. But I think Zugu in general are going to be more than fine. Like the fact that they actually lowered the gold, which wasn't a problem anyway for them, but I don't think this is going to fix the Nesta Bees. Let me just tell you that. You're still going to see lots of Nesta Bees build orders because, or not Nesta Bees, Zuganu build orders. Like the feudal all-in Zuganu is still going to be insanely strong. I don't think this nerfed it at all. And then Grenadiers, damage decrease from 13 to 10. Damage type change from range to siege. Ignores armor. So we'll explain that in a moment. Bonus damage versus buildings reduced from 65 to 20. So this, from a glance, you might think this is a nerf to Grenadiers, but this is actually a pretty big buff. So now that Grenadiers ignore armor, that means their attack is going to do 10 damage no matter what. So a unit that has 9 armor, right now, Grenadiers do 4 damage to them. With this, they now do the full 10 no matter what. So this is actually a buff to Grenadiers. I don't know if Grenadiers are going to be back to broken, if they're going to be used, or what's going to happen with that. But Grenadiers, I have a feeling they're probably going to start popping back up into the game. Because if you think about it, I'm trying to think, like, if you have 12 Grenadiers, or how much health does a Men-at-Arm have? I guess if you have 20 Grenadiers, it one-shots Men-at-Arms, right? So, just kind of things to think about. Fire Lancers, torch damage reduced from 3640 to 3034. Great change. I think everyone can agree with that. In Castle Age, melee damage increased from 11 to 13, and then from 13 to 15 in Imperial Age. And so they wanted to reduce Fire Lancer ability to focus fire and defeat landmarks while increasing their ability to fight in direct engagements. I really don't know if this was necessary for Fire Lancers, but either way, Fire Lancers are now going to be stronger in head-to-head engagements. How much stronger, I'm not sure. But Fire Lancers, you're still going to see them. Like, this isn't going to be enough to, like, people will be like, this sucks now. Fire Lancers are still really good. And now for the fun one. So this one, I've seen a lot of people talk about this one, and I mean, I agree. It's probably broken. Do Fire Lancers get double damage versus ranged? I'm pretty sure, but I don't know 100%. So Delhi has the Horseman or the Horseman renamed into the Ghazi Raider. Uses a mace in combat. Cost increase from 100 food 20 wood to 110 food 30 wood. Their HP is increased from 125 to 140, 155 to 180, 180 to 200. Damage increase from 9, 11, 13 to 13, 16, 19. That's a 4 damage increase in Feudal Age. Gains +2, 3, 4 bonus versus heavy. Ooh, wow. I think my power's flickering? Well, chat, if I go dark, it's not my fault, I promise. Yo, what's up, Enfex? And then their attack speed changed from 1.88 to 2.0. So this is a huge change if you think about this. So now, against knights, for example, or knights, men-at-arms, horsemen for Delhi do 15 damage in the Feudal Age, which is a lot of damage. But without that, they're still doing 13 damage, and they have that extra health too. Now they do cost a little extra, but man, I think this is a great deal for Delhi. I know this is probably due to men-at-arms and all that, I think is what I've heard some people talk about, which makes sense. Men-at-arms are, HRE, men-at-arms are a problem for Delhi, but when I heard people saying this is probably going to be overpowered, I agree. I bet it is overpowered. Like, this is going to need to be changed, I feel like, but I suppose we'll see. The time to kill for the Ghazi Raider on early men-at-arm has gone from 32.5 seconds to 20 seconds, and early men-at-arm time to kill a Ghazi Raider has gone up from 15 to 17.5. That's actually pretty crazy. So now a men-at-arm and a Ghazi Raider kill each other at almost the same time. Like, yes, the men-at-arm kills one 2.5 seconds faster, but that's really not that big of a difference considering what it used to be. So, like, for example, men-at-arms, I feel like Feudal Age men-at-arms, I think are going to be trash against Delhi now. Because as Delhi, it's really not hard to get a lot of horsemen out. And this extra 10 wood and 10 food is not going to be a problem for Delhi at all. As long as, they don't lose map control. So, yeah, I think, for example, like HRE, this matchup is considered HRE favored, right? Now, I think it's going to be Delhi favored pretty hardcore. And then against English just already struggles against Delhi as it is, but now I feel like it's even more Delhi favored. So in general, those two civs, I mean, English was always bad against Delhi, but HRE was good against Delhi, is now probably bad against Delhi. Like this is a huge change. I'm trying to think in general when I think of all the civs in the game at the moment. Like, what civ is Delhi bad against now? Maybe China? I think Delhi's going to be good against, or at least even or good against every other civ in the game. Or favored. I don't think they're going to have a bad matchup except for maybe against China. And that's just because of Zoogs. Compound of the Defender landmark, just text changes. Dome of Faith, text changes. They fixed an elephant bug. Docking placements no longer fire at elephants. Updated targeting priority of elephants to prefer units over buildings. War elephant, siege tusk weapon removed. Essentially, so the old siege tusk had 100 siege plus 100 versus buildings, 5.75 attack speed. Same DPS, but instead it's going to do 50 damage per strike plus 45 versus buildings, but it's 2.75 attack speed. Just easier micro. So it's really the same, it just does it a little bit faster. And then the Tower Elephant's the same thing, except it's, it's 30 melee plus 40 versus buildings instead of 100. They make Delhi Horsemen anti-armor units? Yeah. I mean, Knights will still beat them, but it definitely won't be as one-sided as it is now, that's for sure. You definitely have to be, like, yeah. And so those are the Delhi changes. So Delhi, like I said, is now going to be a very, very good civ, probably broken. Like, this unit's broken, let's just be honest. This is going to be overpowered, and it's going to be nerfed. How long will that take? I don't know, but this unit will 100% be nerfed at some point. Hopefully sooner rather than later, but I guess we'll just have to wait. I mean, the bonus versus heavy isn't that big. Their base damage is going up by more. Well, that's the thing. It's their bone. Like that's the big complaint. It's the 13 damage increase. The +2 armor, the +2 versus heavy isn't the thing. Like even without this +2 heavy, the +4 is such a big change. I think it's just too high. Plus the extra health. Like it's just I don't know, too much. But we'll see what happens. Maybe we're all wrong. Maybe all the high-level players are wrong. So English, they didn't really get any nerfs. The campfire ability moved from the longbow to the man-at-arm. No longer requires research. Costs 25 wood to deploy. Can only do a maximum of 5 at a time. And what it does is it does not heal anymore. It provides a 30% sight range increase to units in the area, and then they provide some natural sight range if no units are nearby. And their reasoning for this is because the campfire ability wasn't getting used much, and they wanted to revitalize the civilization with a new ability that helps the core roster shine. I mean, it's whatever. I doubt it's gonna be used very much. The only time I could see using it, for example, would be on high view. If I'm playing on high view and I'm walking around the map, or I lose my scout and I have a men-at-arm, I'm gonna place a campfire so I can see through the stealth forest. Otherwise, I don't really see this being used too much. I mean, I can see some other use cases, like maybe you put one by some food sources so that you could see, like on Dry Arabia, you take an men-at-arm, you put it towards a deer source, you drop the camp so that you'll know when they start taking that deer, instead of having to constantly watch it with a scout. Stuff like that. But in general, not the biggest deal. I mean, 25 wood, it can be kind of costly early game as well. The villager hunting bow range increased from 2.875 tiles to 5 tiles. From what I understand, this is just against deer. Not really. Like, I don't know why they buffed this. I don't know why English villagers need to shoot deer from farther away, but okay. Kind of an odd change. Armor clad technology is increased from 100 food, 250 gold to 150 food, 350 gold. Again, a slight nerf to the armor clad technology. I mean, that an extra 100 gold is actually pretty costly, but it's a change that was needed. English men-at-arms are crazy in Castle Age as it is. The Wingard footmen now have proper torch damage for an Imperial Age unit, and then the King cost reduced to 120, 120, and added an ability button for kingly presence on the King, which you can hover to see the range of the healing aura. So, English got one nerf, and that's the armor clad technology. Everything else, I mean, they didn't really get changed that much. English is going to be English. French. I don't care about that. It's just the Hulk. New Merchant Guilds technology. Available in the Imperial Age. Costs 200 food, 500 gold. Active traders generate 1 gold every 6 seconds. Affected by the French Economic Technologies discount. And it's available at the Royal Institute, which means you can get this in Castle Age. So, I did see Beastie Cutie test this out a little bit. And it's a lot of gold. If you have quite a few traders, you're going to get a lot of extra gold on top of your trade trip. And all you need to do is you can wall in your traders, and as long as you right click a market, you're going to get that passive gold. So I definitely think this was not needed. Like, I can see scenarios where if your trade's getting disrupted, you just select all your traders, you put them to the close market or something, and you just have them go back and forth between the market, or you wall in your traders and you have them right-click the market, and you're still going to get that passive gold generation even though you're not doing a full trade. Definitely a very, very strong, and I don't know why this was added, but okay. Because, I mean, like I said, I think overall, I feel like trade was buffed in this patch, not nerfed. Definitely, yeah, I've already gone over that. I'm not going to go over it again. I could rant about that all the time. Let me just tell you guys this. All my tournaments, if I ever host another tournament after the Conqueror's Cup, I'm going to keep the trade markets at this point for every tournament I host. Long guns technology, just gunpowder ships. I don't care about the ship stuff. If you guys care, you guys can look at it. But here's another buff to French. The Arbaletaire, I know I said that wrong, but the French crossbowman now gains +1 range when the Pavis is deployed. For those who don't know what the Pavis is, it's the ability the Arbs have that they take a lot less range damage, and now it gains them +1 range. So just a little slight buff to an already strong unit, by the way. This is like the best crossbow in the game, no contest before this buff. 30 traders on a 10 gold trip walled in. 1 gold every 6 seconds equals 300 gold per minute. Yep. Just pretend to be Marine Lord when you read it, Blade. What? What? I don't get it. Okay. Holy Roman Empire didn't really get any changes. The only change is Benediction has been removed and merged to the Devoutness, and now Devoutness provides +10% resource gathering and +25% construction speed. So nothing real there, and that's literally it. That is the only change HRE got in this patch. Arbaletaire. Oh, I see what you're saying, Andy. Or militia. So that no one can understand. All right, let's go to Malians. The Fort of the Hunter's Landmark now properly has 5 armor. Okay. Warrior Scout. The Warrior Scout regeneration reduced from 2 to 1.5 in Feudal Age and Castle Age. The Warrior Scout generation increased from 2 to 2.5 in Imperial Age. Reduced the movement speed to 1.75. And the Veteran upgrade now grants 100% bonus damage versus range units in Castle. Now, I don't think anyone has ever thought Warrior Scouts were a problem in Castle Age, so these are fine changes. Like in Castle Age, Warrior Scouts weren't a problem. It was just the Feudal Age, and they did get their nerfs in the Feudal Age. Is it enough? I guess we'll find out. I mean, 1.5 health regen is still quite a bit. I'll be curious on how much it actually affects Feudal Age Warrior Scouts. Let's see. Cattle. So cattle have gotten a buff and a nerf, by the way. Arbiter, yeah. Village cattle gather rate reduced from 0.9 to 0.81. Food gathering technologies now applied to the passive income of cattle garrisoned in ranches. So that means when you get like horticulture and those upgrades, the cows in the ranches will now have an increase in passive food regeneration. I don't know what the new one's going to be, but to give you guys a perspective right now in the current patch, Malians gets 900 and I think it's 60 food per minute if you go the cow technology, the cow landmark, and they're in ranches. That would be 960 passive food per minute. So according to Mestre, it is if you have all 3 upgrades, it'll now be 1200 food per minute. So just a slight buff. Again, I don't think this was needed, but that is a buff that happened. I mean, I don't think it's going to make it overpowered, that's for sure. I just don't think it was needed either. And then they fixed a bug to ensure cattle population has a display to inform the player there is a limit to how many cattle the user can have. Imported armor technology cost increased from 100 food to 250 gold to 150 food, 350 gold. This is the sofa armor upgrade. This doesn't matter. Malians does not struggle in gold. That extra 100 gold is literally nothing to them. So, yeah, they could have made it 500 gold, and Delhi's not going to care. Updated Malians aren't going to care. Updated civilizations. Okay, it's just text-based. Oh wait, to include that research time, a veteran unit technologies is reduced by half. Corrected an issue where the UI would be hidden after researching poisoned arrows. Didn't know that was a thing. And then corrected an issue where H2 Town Center, Siege Tower, and RAM were missing from the tech tree. Okay, so nothing there. So overall, Malian's got a nerf. I still think they're going to be a very strong unit. I keep misspeaking on this one. I still think they're going to be a super strong civ because Farimba hasn't been touched, so Farimba is still super strong. And they still have the same problems that they have now, is Malians, as long as they can get gold, they don't have, that's all they need. Gold and a little bit of food and they're fine. So Malians are still going to be super strong. I don't know if they're still going to be the strongest civ in the game like they are right now, but they're still definitely going to be, no one's going to play this civ and go, man, what a weak civ. At least, I don't think so. All right, now for the Mongols. Now, Mongols have had quite a big change. The Mongol Lancers renamed to the Kashik, and it is available in the Feudal Age. So for those of you who don't know, the Age of Empires 4 closed beta back in 2020? I can't remember what year it was. Or no, 2021. It would have been 2021. Mongols actually had Feudal Age Lancers, but were removed because they were too overpowered at the, or that's what I was told, was that they were too overpowered at the time. So this is bringing back a thing that was removed from Mongols from the closed beta. The cost has been decreased from 140 food, 100 gold to 120 food, 80 gold. Their attack was decreased from 19, 24, 29 to 15, 19, 23, so -4. Their HP has been decreased from 190 to 145, 230, 270 to 175, 205. Attack speed has been improved from 1.5 to 1.3a. Now here's the interesting part. Restores 3 HP each time it attacks. This does count, by the way, buildings, wildlife, farms, whatever it attacks, it is +3. It gets +3 health. So it's like a, I think I saw someone call it, it's like a vampire unit now. It just sucks the HP out of everything. The train time has been decreased from 35 to 30 seconds. And then it has new Step Lancers technology available in the Imperial Age. 150 food, 350 gold, +1 HP per attack, so it'll be +4 health regen, and then it increases the attack speed by 10%. Then they have a new improved Step Lancers technology, costs 500 stone, +2 on the HP per attack, and increases the attack speed by 15%. They now have a new improved YAM network technology available in the Imperial Age. Heals traders 1 HP every 2 seconds. Okay, that doesn't really matter. The Kurotai landmark just had a, I guess it now heals allied units when it wasn't before. Silver Tree, discount production speed reduced to 40% from 50. Now, this is actually a big change, I think. Khan's Scouting Falcon ability can now be summoned from range at player's cursor location. Cooldown reduced from 75 seconds to 60 seconds. Now, this is where it makes a big change. Can now see over the tops of trees. So, if you tower rush an opponent in the current game, if you want the tower to hit the wood villagers, you have to bring your Khan all the way around, and then you can do the Falcon there and then retreat. And now arrows will hit over there. But now you don't have to do that. And this doesn't just affect, by the way, tower. This isn't just an indirect buff to tower rushes. This is also an indirect buff to any situation where you have archers behind an enemy wood line, but you have no vision. Now you just put that Falcon in the air. You can start pelting the villagers without having, and your opponent would have no idea it's coming. So this is actually a pretty. I think this is actually a pretty big change, and I do think it's going to be very, very noticeable at the pro level. I think you're going to see some very cheeky usage out of this. That's going to be very annoying when you're defending against Mongols in certain areas. And since Mongols have Feudal Age Lancers now, or Kashyyyk, they may be weaker than Knights. They're still pretty, that's still a strong unit in the Feudal Age. I would not be surprised to see this a lot more common. I don't care about piracy. That's just water stuff. Stone Commerce technology. I'm not sure what this one is. I don't know what upgrade this is. Someone may have to tell me, but I have no idea what this upgrade is. Stone Traders. Oh, okay. So they increased the cost from 150 food, 350 gold to 300 gold, 700, or 300 food, 700 gold. Research time increased from 60 seconds to 90, and then to do the improved version, it's 1,000 stone. And now they've added a new technology. By the way, thank you, ScreenDamp, for letting me know. Added Court Architect's technology to Uvu and the White Stupa landmark. I believe, and chat can correct me if I'm wrong, that this is the building health increase. I think it's like 40 or 30%. So Mongols didn't have this before. So this is a buff to Mongol towers, where you can now get that plus 30% health, which I believe towers, I think someone said they had 750 health right now. So whatever 30% of that is how much new, with this upgrade, is now how much stronger they are. Yo, does villager hunting bow range increase from 2.8 tiles to 5 tiles also work on enemy villagers? No. I'm pretty sure it only works on hunts. 950? 950. Oh, you're saying 950 health. Okay, that's good to know. And yeah, like Blade said, I'm pretty sure the Kashyyyk feudal stats are weaker, more balanced for feudal than the beta Mongol feudal lancers. Yeah, they are for sure. 100%. Now, this is also a nice quality of life change for Mongols. Packed buildings. The Jer step redoubt, pasture pack time reduced from 5 seconds to 1 second. I think this is a good change. This will hopefully prevent Jer. I don't want to call it Jar. Blue Dream Legend. But this should hopefully help with issues where you try to repack the Jer, the Ger, and not actually going down on the wood line. So hopefully that fixes that a little bit. I think it's really nice. It will make up for the ability not working. Yeah. What's up, Core? I don't think step redoubt should be 1 second. The Jaren Pasture is nice with it though. I mean, it doesn't matter for the step redoubt whether it's 1 second or 5. Really, I don't think it matters. I think it's a fine change. I don't mind it. Fix a bug where packed buildings were getting repaired at the same speed as siege weapons. They will now be repaired at the same speed as other buildings. Okay. Everything else is just kind of text updates. Overall, I would say it's a buff to Mongols, right? Like, clearly Mongols got buffs throughout this patch, which they needed. They were on the weaker side. Is it enough to make them a good civ? I'm not sure. It really depends on how good these Kashyyyks are. But I definitely expect we'll see Mongols play Feudal Age more in this patch than current patch. And their trade probably is going to be pretty good too. Like, I think trade plus Kashyyyk is actually a pretty strong combo. But again, that's just me. I may be completely wrong. Maybe you don't want to do that. All right, the Ottoman Empire, the Twin Madrasa landmark. Adjusted the initial berry spawn from spawning every 20 seconds to 35 seconds. Respawn rate remains at 120 seconds. So I'm pretty sure this just delays the first berry or second berry from spawning. I don't know. Why am I so sad whenever patch notes come out? It's such a problem. Why? I always get hyped when patch notes come out. I'm always like, let's go, patch notes. All right, and now the Sabahi, for those who are unaware, has had some huge changes. The cost increased from 110 food, 20 wood to 120 food, 40 wood. That's actually quite an increase, by the way. You know, that's a 100% increase on wood. Hit points increased from 135, 165, 190 to 160, 190, 230. So it's a 25 health increase. Damage increased from 9, 11, 13 to 12, 15, 18. So almost the same base damage as the Delhi Raider. Their speed was reduced from 1.88 to 1.75. Attack range increased from 0.29 to 0.75. And then we want to make this unique unit stand out further from standard horsemen. The increased range makes it a much more effective raiding unit as it's able to focus fire. So the Spahi is going to be a much stronger raider unit against villagers than it is now. Like, I think, at least in my experience when I raided with Spahi, usually it's very hard to get a lot of villager kills. But I think with this, if you catch villagers out in the open, I think you're going to get some villager kills. No change on Spy train time? That is correct. No change on the Spy train time. So the military schools, which you only set to Spahi anyway 90% of the time in the feudal age, has only become more cost effective. So it's like military schools indirectly, it's kind of like a buff to that in a way. So in short, Ottomans already have one of the strongest feudal ages in the game, and their feudal age just got buffed. So I think Ottomans are only going to be a stronger feudal age civ. And in general, I'm very curious. I think it's, I mean, I like Ottomans. I like playing them. So Spahi will be even more cost effective when you play them. Like, think about this, right? They're now way more cost effective even against longbows. So, like, against English longbows, like, Spahi are going to deal with them even easier than they do now. And, by the way, as a heads up, this doesn't include the ability. I don't remember what the ability is called, but the ability that increases the attack speed. So, you're getting plus 3 damage, and you still have that plus 50% attack speed. And it has an attack range increase, too. Spahi are going to be nuts in Feudal Age. I don't know if it's going to be broken or not, but I definitely think Spahi are going to be a super strong unit now. I mean, and I thought they were strong before. All right, the new Great Bombard emplacement replaces cannon emplacements on keeps. It costs 250 gold, 400 stone, 60 seconds to research, 100 range damage with greater area effect, and plus 200 versus buildings, plus 100 versus ships. Honestly, I think they overbuffed Cabinet in this. Probably will need a tone down. I actually wouldn't be surprised if you're right, Shuckle. I don't care about the Grand Galley. Improve some of the Okay, they improved some of the underused Vizier points. Field work. Healing Aura now scales per age. 1 in Dark Age, 1 in Feudal, 2 Castle, 3 in Imperial. I really don't think the Imams needed a buff. I feel like it's used, but maybe it's not used as much as I thought. I don't know. Janissary Company now spawns an additional 2 Janissaries from the Capital Town Center in addition to the Janissaries at military schools. And trade bags now also applies to the gold generated by the Sultani trade network. Was fieldwork underused? Fieldwork. Oh, yeah. For some reason, I thought fieldwork was going to be something else. But yeah, as far as I know, I don't think it was underused. But I mean, it depended on the Civ matchup too, to be fair. I mean, in general, I use this very heavily against English, against HRE. And actually, those are the only two Civs I think I use this against. So I guess maybe that's why. And then the Ottoman support unit. Health now scales per age. It's now 160, 180, 200 instead of just 180 flat. So in Feudal Age, it is 20 HP weaker. Hey, what's up, Recon? Which is kind of nice. I do think this unit needed a nerf, by the way. I think it was too strong. And then I don't really think there's much else. Yeah, it's just tech tree upgrades, don't care. And for the final one, we are going to be talking about the Rus. So, I guess my thoughts on the Ottomans. Ottomans Feudal Age stronger. In general, I feel like Ottomans got buffed when I don't feel like they really needed buffs, but that's just my opinion. Hunting cabins. So they changed the hunting cabins a bit. Hunting cabins no longer overlap auras, or hunting cabins with overlapping auras no longer suffer a penalty to gold income. Instead, trees are claimed by hunting cabins, which means that hunting cabins cannot share the same tree. If one tree is taken by one hunting cabin, the other hunting cabin can't take it. Gold generation is now fixed to 30-second intervals instead of reducing the interval with a bounty mechanic. Tiers now provide a percentage increase to hunting cabin gold income at each tier, 10%, 25%, 65%. So I just want to state for the record, currently, at the high level, I've seen some players talk about, if you watch Louis MT, if you watch me, if you watch Divine, and we play Rus, you'll notice that we chop trees and place 2 hunting cabins in the center. I do not think you'll ever want to do that again, because this is actually a pretty significant nerf to that, and I don't think it's going to be worth the effort to put the hunting cabins in there. I mean, and maybe it is, but to give you guys perspective, Wham actually tested this, and it was 35 gold a minute. To give you guys perspective, what you can get now, usually you're getting like 50, you're in the 50s, and then you can even get to 60s. But now it's been kind of stealth nerfed. I don't know if that was the intention, to where even, and this is direct center, by the way, like directly center. I wonder if I can actually show this real quick. So if you look, this is direct center in the hunting cabin, and it's only 35 gold per minute. So if you do it right here, or over here, it's going to be even less. So, in general, I think this is going to die. I don't think you're going to see players do this anymore. I don't think it's worth it with this change. Putting a hunting cabin inside it is still more gold than no, right? It is, but it's I don't think it's worth the APM and the delaying your feudal age. Can't you place 2 cabins next to each other with no penalty? No, because you are penalizing yourself by doing that. Remember, they can't share trees. So one hunting cabin that takes all the trees, if you put another hunting cabin next to it, that second hunting cabin isn't going to get much gold. It's going to be a lot less. I think that was kind of a lame thing to do anyway. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't married to that build, so it's not like I care that much about it, but I did just want to state that it is a nerf to that, so I think that is going to go away. Like, I'm not going to do it anymore. I don't think it's worth it. And now, global income is capped at 300 gold a minute at tier 0 bounty, with tier 3 bounty income caps out at 500 gold a minute for all hunting cabins. This does not include the high trade house, so they did remove that. So high trade house does not contribute to the hunting cabin gold generation cap. Currently it does. I think right now, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, with the high trade house and hunting cabins you can max out at 833 gold per minute. Now you can theoretically go higher depending. They did adjust the rate of gold generation using a diminishing returns formula to balance the civ on maps with densely packed forests. So that's why it's not as good when you chop in the center. So this should be a nerf to it in maps like Hideout, for example. Okay, you did all the bad stuff on the update. Now let's get to the good stuff. True, true. I did just talk about. I mean, I've been talking about the good and the bad. It's been both. All right, and now for the Night Sabers reworked into Night Poleaxe. Like I said, I don't mind this change. By the way, like I wasn't married to the old style. I don't care for the change. Like in general, it's fine. It's honey cabins still work the way they do. You're just not going to do it in the tree anymore. Night Sabers reworked into Night Poleaxes. It's just a visual change. It's not changed at all otherwise. It's still +4 damage to the melee attacks. I don't know why they're changing in the name, but okay. Horse Archers Mounted Precision reworked into a new technology called Mounted Training. Unlocks the Gallop ability, causing Horse Archers to move at a maximum move speed with +2 weapon range for 8 seconds. So it's a buff to Horse Archers. I don't know how useful that'll be. Streltsy, melee damage increased from 50 to 60. No longer has a double time ability. And they just wanted to further distinguish the roles of the Horse Archer and the Streltsy. The Horse Archer is weaker and more mobile. The Streltsy is the slow powerhouse. Lodia ships can no longer exceed population cap. I didn't know you could. Added a new ability to the Kremlin, which, when activated, calls all available militia to the landmark town center. This is a quality of life change. So now if you have 20 militia saved up, instead of pressing that button 20 times, you just press the call all militia, and assuming you have the food for it, it'll call them all. And then the Castle Watch technology, cost reduced from 100 stone to 50 stone, time to research reduced from 30 seconds to 15 seconds. For those who don't know what this technology is, in the not hunting cabins, in the wooden fortresses, there's an upgrade that you can increase the line of sight. That's what this is. So overall, what are my thoughts on this for Roos? I mean, Roos didn't... I mean, the hunting cabin change, I think, is a slight nerf. But overall, Roos is still a good civ. I mean, right now at the high level, or at the pro level, there's talk that people think Roos is the second best civ after Malians right now. I don't know if I agree with that personally, but I do hear I have heard some talk and had some discussions with some pros about it. But either way, Roos, still a very strong civ, and I don't think the double time nerf matters. They're still going to be top tier. I don't think they're overpowered, but again, maybe my opinion will change on that. And then that's the patch. Overall, I think the patch is good. I like a lot of the changes. The only one and I know everyone's talked about this, is the deli change. That's probably the only one that I'm like, probably too much. But